didn't want to have to do it, but I just had to lie to my stepmom. Because she's basically trying to get all my money because she found out I got a little bit of a better job. I'm making more money now, so what does she want to do? Well, like a vampire, she wants to suck all the money from my bank account. But guys, I have a little trick that I'm going to share with her because she's not going to get away with it just because my father's not in the picture anymore. My stepmom found out that I have a high-paying job, and now she's demanding that I pay rent. It's not fair. I mean, nothing in life is fair, and I'm fed up. Why do I always have to suffer and get the short end of the stick? Why is it that the person who promised my father that she would take care of me is not doing so? Instead, she's the one who's causing my suffering. I was mentally and emotionally drained that I had no idea what to do. I wish that my father was still alive, then we would not have to live in this trailer and living hand to mouth. Instead, I have to deal with this greedy woman that he married because he could not handle being alone after his wife left him. Why does she have to be that stereotypical stepmother in this day and age? Can she not be a cool stepmom like other women? I mean, come on. We've known each other for 10 years, yet we still can't stand each other. Which is funny because I was left in her custody when my father passed away, since she was not working. We lost our house and everything and then had to move into an apartment. She got a job and tried to sustain us, but in the end, we ended up at the trailer park. That's because she does not have any skills besides seducing men with money. Now that she's not young, she's been unable to trap more men. So we've been kinda struggling, and when she was still able to pull off looking young, she would have a few boyfriends who would buy her stuff, and we would have a decent life. She would then abandon me and treat me absolutely horribly. When I tried to speak out, she told me that she would simply just kick me out. She also blames me for the fact that we live in a trailer and says that my college education cleaned out our only savings. I should consider myself lucky that she even let me go to college. Now that I have a degree, I've been looking for a job. Absolutely no pressure from her at all, and I'm drowning under the pressure. Whenever she sees me with money, she asks me to buy something for the house as if she's not working. She's constantly cranky and blames me for everything in her life. Maybe if she stopped smoking so much, she would have more money saved up. I think she's just mad that her meal ticket left her with a daughter. Sometimes I imagine that she gave me up and disappeared to chase fame or something. But then I wake up from my daydream, and I've been thinking of moving out lately, but I simply cannot do it yet. I've only just had this financial reprieve, and she somehow found out about it, so she's been making noise about that for a while. About 2 weeks ago, I got a job. An extremely high-paying job, considering the fact that I've just graduated. It's with a reputable company and the hours are flexible. I have 2 days on site and 3 working remotely, and she's barely noticed what I've been up to. After work, she usually sleeps or visits her best friend. She used to go all out the time, but I guess now she's tired. Also, times are different for gold diggers like her. It's harder to trap men. She ignores me unless she wants to abuse me with endless errands. I've been counting down the days till I get my first paycheck, and I've also been daydreaming about the kind of apartment I'll get. Finally, I'll have some sort of privacy and I'll be able to eat whatever I want to eat. Funny how such things were a norm in my childhood until my dad was taken away too soon. All because of some stupid drunk driver. Life after that became worse and has not looked better since then. I've been known as the trailer girl. My old friends dumped me a long time ago and I feel deep sadness and depression. I also get very angry when she speaks and says some of the stuff that she says. It makes me feel like I'm not loved, like there's no one in the world who looks out for me. My mom's alive, but I have no idea where she is. The last time I got in contact with her, she told me to leave her alone. Well, that's the PG version. She let us just stay there and say that I've been looking forward to leaving this place for quite a while. But now my plans have somehow been thrashed because she found out I have a job. She found my contract, which stipulated how much compensation I would get. When I came home from my evening shift, she sat in our makeshift living room with my contract on the table and she congratulated me on getting a job. It must have been that I forgot to let her know that I got a job. I guess the cat got my tongue and I simply could not speak. I was terrified about what she was going to say or do to me. She asked me when I was planning on telling her, and I did not respond. She asked if I thought she was simply a fool, and she said she buys everything in this house and cares for me, while I'm out there getting money and don't want to share it. She started to laugh, this crazy cackle she gets before losing it. I knew it was going to be a long night. She was going to shout from the evening till late at night, and I told her that it was my money. I planned to tell her when I got time, and she then asked me when I planned to finally start contributing, because if I did not notice, she was the one who had been doing everything. I told her that I did not have the money yet. She told me it's fine, but when I got my pay, I would have to pay for rent and contribute to the household expenses, of course. Guys, I was absolutely flabbergasted. How dare she ask me to pay for rent? I then asked her how much she expected, and she wanted way too much money. She said that she needs to be paid back all the years that she's taken care of me. I was extremely disturbed and upset by what she said, and it felt like it was a bit disrespectful. She had no problem spending my father's money when he was alive. All the money she spent could never compare to what she spent on me. I had part-time jobs in the past and gave all the money to her. Yet when I asked her to do something for me, I had to beg. Every single time I told her that I was not going to do such a thing. Sure, I could buy some food, but I was not going to fund her lifestyle or let her use me like she used my father. Can you believe that she slapped me when I said that and called me an ungrateful brat? I instantly get upset and wish that my father was alive, so I said something that I probably should not have said to her. I said I wished it was her and not father who died in that crash. Well, she went off on me and she said some things that I cannot repeat here, and then she even threatened me. She told me that I should not forget that she's the one who has all my documents. She's the one who has been my guardian for all these years. And, well, she could go to court and get her money back from me. And it was going to be much more than rent that she was asking for. She told me to count my blessings, because the next time I dared to speak to her like that, then she told me I had to, decide within a week what to do. When my paycheck came, she hoped I would see sense and give her my money. Is this fair? Is it even legal? It's my first salary. Can she not just let me enjoy it? This is why I did not tell her that I have a job. Now she's going to depend on me financially, and she's been waiting for it for a very long time. And I just know it in my heart. Update number 1. She kicked me out. So, the end of the month came by, and once again she asked me for my paycheck, and I told her I was not going to give her anything, nor was I going to be bullied. She was calm and told me it's fine, but from now on I'm alone when it comes to food. In my head I rejoiced. I won. She was not as strong-willed as she used to be, and she could not kick me out. I would like to see who wins the fight. I just need a couple days to find a place to stay, and once I have a place lined up and furniture, I'll be close to broke, but it'll be worth it to eat ramen for a few weeks instead of staying with her. So we stayed together for a few days, ignoring each other. Little did I know that was the calm before the storm. One night, I came home and tried the key, but it didn't work. I thought something was wrong with my key, so I tried all my keys, but nothing. I texted her to let her know that the key was not working, and she told me to go talk to Miss Resnick. You see, Miss Resnick is the resident grandmother. She's very kind and helps out anyone at the trailer park, and when I got to her house, I found my suitcases packed. She looked at me sad and explained that Clara had dropped them off and asked her to hand them over to me. She said that I was not to return to her house until I was ready to start acting like a grown-up. I said that I was surprised that she did not throw my stuff in the garbage, Miss Resnick. So, she said that she wanted to, but she stopped her and offered to take me in. I nearly cried. Miss Resnick is an angel among the residents, and I thanked her so much for looking after my stuff, and I even gave her some pocket money. I told her I did not want to burden her with my presence, and she already had 4 grandkids to feed. I told her that I would be off, and I had already overstayed my welcome. So, having been kicked out by my stepmother, I got myself a motel. I had nothing but my clothes, but hey, it's fine. At least I was free, and managed to sleep peacefully for the first time in a long time. The only stress was when I was going to get a permanent place to stay. Update number 2, 3 months later. Guys, I'm writing this with a very heavy heart. I'm happier than I was months ago when I got unceremoniously kicked out. I've not had to contact her since then. There's no reason to. She said what she needed to say, and I got myself a place a few days after leaving the trailer park. The deposit was astronomical, but at least I had a place to stay of my own. I've spent the past few months slowly furnishing the house, and guys, it looks good. I've made a few friends at work who I get along with and who make me happy. I filled my days with peace and harmony and none of that negativity that my stepmom would bring into my life. 1 hour later. Well, if that's not interesting, guys, I was having a normal time until I got a message from somebody who claimed to be my granddad's lawyer. He says that I'm related to this man who has my paternal surname, and now apparently this man wants to talk to me about leaving his fortune to me. Yeah, it's very funny, because my father told me that his dad is no more. I've never met my grandma or parents, so how could one of them be contacting me right now? The name does not even match the one that my father gave me. It's one of those internet scams, I feel like, and I should just ignore it. I'm so annoyed right now. There are people who really have time to waste other people's time, and on top of that, they've worked very hard to pretend to be a legitimate lawyer, representing my so-called grandfather. I bet they're trying to scam me. Anyways, good thing I'm not that dumb. Update number 3. My stepmother tried to visit me yesterday at my house. I have no idea what she wants, but I've decided that I don't want her in my life. She is the one who kicked me out like a dog, so I've told security at my apartment never to let her in. Reception said that she had something very important to tell me, and I just know that it's going to be one of those scams and she's going to beg me for money after telling me some sort of sob story. She's going to expect my heart to melt and then she's going to take advantage of me. I bet she's now regretting not being kinder to me. Well, I bet she's growing lonely in that trashy trailer of hers. Well, she can rot there alone because I have no intention of helping her or allowing her into my life. I have nothing more to say to her. In fact, I think that I'm going to get a restraining order so that the next time she tries to get near me, she'll end up in prison. At least then she'll leave me alone. Like, why won't she leave me alone? Does she not have a life? Well, I guess now, either way, back to living my life with no distractions. Second point of view. This post is now from Clara's point of view. Let's jump into it. Hey, I'm Clara. I'm sure you're wondering what's happened to my stepdaughter June. You know, the one that claims that I'm crazy and have been abusing her. Would it surprise you that she's fabricated most of this information? I did not kick her out because I wanted her money. Not at all. I kicked her out because she wanted to live here rent-free, be financially irresponsible, and not contribute to the household. I told her to move out if she did not want to live with me. Well, she refused to leave and told me she wanted to spend her money. She gets that from her dad. Spending money one does not have. I would not watch her go down the same path as him, so I kicked her out. My only hope was that she would become financially responsible and would realize how hard it is to be an adult. I'm glad that she has her place, and if what she is saying is to be believed, then I'm glad that she's been furnishing her house and living well. But there's so much that she's told you that's been straight up misleading, and I'd like to clarify. So, I came across her post when one of Miss Resnick's grandkids saw it and recognized her name. She then asked if maybe it was June who wrote this, and I read everything and my heart sank due to the blatant lies that she told. She says that I married her father for money. That's not true. When I married him, he was a broke, and I had no idea. He spent money like he had it when the truth was that he was gambling it all away. I ended up having to dip into my savings to try to cover his gambling debt. She was too young to know that, and she loved her father so much that I never had the courage to tell her what her dad was like. When I finally told her about her father, it was the day that I found out that, well, she had been hiding a job that she had for 2 months, not 2 weeks like she claimed. I got very upset because even after all I've done, she still hated me and would rather see me suffer than contribute to the house. I never asked her to pay rent. I barely pay much. I only asked her to chip in for food, every now and then, especially with the stuff that she eats the most. I mean, come on. She told me that she would not do that and I was trying to exploit her. She told me that for once, she could afford what she wanted and she planned to enjoy it. So, I just snapped and told her to be responsible with my money, and then she called me a gold digger and told me that she wished that I died instead of her dad. Well, that part was true. I told her that her father died by his own sword because he was a gambler who got emotionally abusive when he was drunk. I tried to stop him from gambling away all his money, but he got angry and shouted at me. Then the people that he owed money to sent someone to crash into our car, and I know for a fact that it was intentional. I was there. That car had been following us for a while and attacked at the right time. On his side of the car, he did not make it, but I did. I called his ex-wife to let her know that he was no more, and she told me that she simply doesn't care. She told me to give June up for adoption if I did not want to take care of her, but I could not do that, for I promised him I would take care of June. Despite what June has led you to believe, I loved that man and found it hard to move on. I loved him so much that I could not ruin his image in his daughter's eyes. I've worked hard to make sure that she never goes to bed hungry and that she goes to college. I'm the one who paid for her college, but she would never admit that. That would mean she gets less sympathy from you, and it would show that I care about her and have tried my hardest to be a good mother. But she's hated and resented me for years. She blames me for everything, and we're always fighting. So when I told her the truth about her father, she claimed that I was a liar. She could not comprehend the fact that he was so not innocent. I let her know that if she was not going to buy food, she might get herself her own place. I gave her about 3 days to look for a place, and when she did not move out, I took her stuff out. I felt that for both of us to remain sane, we needed some space from each other. And to be completely honest with you guys, I felt betrayed that she would hide her income from me when I've been taking care of her with my little income for years. So yeah, I kicked her out and have not spoken to her since. I did go to the apartment a couple of days ago to let her know that I've received the same email as her. I do believe that it's Robert's father that's trying to contact us. He knows I'm his second wife, so he has to be the real deal, right? He also matches the name that Robert told me, and he and his father have been estranged for many, many years, long before June grew up, and I was in the picture. To this day, I have no idea why he and his dad are estranged. I just wish I could ask him, but I guess it's too late for that. I've tried to contact June and tell her that we need to speak to her grandfather, but as she told you, she does not want to speak to me. I guess I can try one last time to contact her so that we can see what he wants. Update number 1. So, we met my father-in-law, whom I've never met, and after all these years of his son's death, he showed up to look for his son's family. He was older than I thought he would be and frail. I mean, I'm no doctor, but I feel that he doesn't have much time left on this earth. I responded to his lawyer, agreeing to meet with him and get in contact with his grandchild. So then we met a couple of days later. We spoke for hours, each revealing truths that have been long buried. After this, he went to see June. He wanted to try to have a relationship with her, and he even messaged me a couple days later to tell me that the person he met could not possibly been his grandchild. He told me that he was deeply disappointed in the person that she had become, and he believed me. I told him the full story of what happened to his son, my years with June, our estrangement. I told him that she's become a more self-observed ever since she got money and doesn't want anything to do with her family. I let him know that her bitterness was turning her into something else. Well, he found it hard to believe that she could just be like that. He doesn't know her personally due to his estrangement from his son, which I'll explain a bit later. But he thought that at least he would be leaving his fortune with somebody who is blood and deserves it. So he tracked her down to her job. He provided her with the proof that he was her grandfather. He shared with her that he was old and could not live alone anymore. He said he was saddened by his son's death and had no other family besides her. And he wanted to get to know her before his time was up. He asked her to spend a couple of hours in her week talking to him and spending a few days with him. He said that it would help him to have a peaceful death. Well, she agreed, and they started to get to know each other. This lasted for about a week, before he called me and told me that I was right about her and her attitude. He told me that she had been cold and treated him like a burden, but he said he was not going to stop getting to know her, even though the only time she was interested in him was when she was asking him how much she would get from the inheritance. He told her that it depended on his life cover. What I did not know was that as the weeks passed, he was investing the both of us. He visited me once or twice weekly when I was off, and we spoke about my husband. I had nothing to offer him but good company. I helped him fill in those missing years, and I could tell he muchly appreciated it. He seemed to regret cutting off his son, which was why he was saddened by my situation with June even after all that I've done for her. As for why he and his son are estranged, it's a sad story. He says they did not get along because he got married so early and left college, thus failing to complete his medical degree. He and his wife offered to take care of the baby so that Robert and June's mom could finish school. They decided to get married and elope. He cut them both off since he had other kids, and as fate would have it, he lost his whole family over the years. His other sons, his wife, and his grandbabies all seemed to drop dead like flies over the course of more than 2 decades. Now that he was on his deathbed, it just allowed him time to reflect. He realized he had all this massive wealth with nobody to leave it to. He planned to give it to charity, but then the thought of his son. He thought maybe he made something of himself and deserved the money. He was shocked to learn that he had met his demise 7 years ago. Further investigation revealed that he had a daughter and a wife. So then he got his lawyer to contact us, and I responded, but June did not respond. He told me just the other day that he had conducted investigations into both of us because he did not really trust us. And I asked him what he found, and he just smiled. He told me that all would be revealed when he was gone. Okay, fair enough. Well, at least June will have the life that she would have if he had raised her. She's going to get her inheritance, and maybe she'll harbor less hatred for me. As for myself, well, I don't want his money. I know that he would not give it to me. After all, I'm his son's second wife. However, I'm enjoying spending time with him. He has so many stories about Robert from his childhood. It just makes me feel like Robert's alive, and I got to know him over and over again. Hey, maybe it'll allow me a bit to heal and finally let someone into my heart, because I've struggled all these years. Final updates. Strap your seatbelts in. 1 year later. Hey guys, it's been a year. And well, a few months ago, my father-in-law passed away. A lot's happened between me, him, and June in those months. The gist is that he had to move in with June because he was getting frail. June was incredibly irresponsible and mean to him. I visited him often, much to June's chagrin. She got mad at me and called me a gold digger, accusing me of trying to seduce her grandfather, and I could have never looked at him like that. He was like a father figure to me because the main thing we bonded over was Robert. I tried to include her in the convo so she would feel less left out, but she was uninterested. She was more interested in friends, going out, spending money. Her grandfather did not help the situation by spoiling her a lot. He even gave her a credit card, one of those with no limit, and she went crazy with it. I wondered why he would do that when he knows how she was, but I figured he was blinded by the fact that she was only the last living relative. Maybe he was also trying to make up for lost time. Well, she bragged to me on a regular basis about it, about how she was going to get the entire inheritance, and I just prayed that she would not squander it, but that was asking too much from her. In the end, he passed away in his sleep. After he passed away, I was called for the will reading, and to my surprise, she was also there, and before the will was read, she told me that I probably got peanuts. Now guys, imagine the look on her face when he gave me 95%. 95% of his inheritance and gave her a measly 5%. He said that she should have grown that money on her own because he felt that she had been handed too much in her life. Guys, she was livid. saying that the money was barely enough to cover her credit card bill that she ran up. Well, I asked what she meant, and she revealed that she got another credit card after her grandfather passed away and wanted to pay it off with her inheritance. While she had a lot of money, it was not enough for her to live on for years. I was in the opposite situation. This money was more than enough for me for a lifetime. I could already see myself finally getting out of this trailer park and living a better life for once. I told her that she should not be sad. At least she got something. He could have left her with absolutely nothing. I mean, she asked how I even knew about it, and I let her know that he knew that she was only being nice to him for money. He told me when he was on his deathbed, he said it's better for a good person who was not related to him to get the money. I just assumed that he meant he's going to donate it to charity. Well, it turns out that I was that good stranger. I guess whatever he found out in my past matched the story that I told him about her, which is the truth. I warned her about the way she treats people, but I guess I know nothing, right? Well, here I am enjoying the mood and weather my way to the bank. Alright guys, I want to first mention June. Yeah, June, because she was so obsessed with money and materialistic items, I don't think she even realized that her grandfather was doing a test on her. And I think the number one test that wasn't really mentioned in the story was the way that she used that no-limit credit card. I strongly believe the grandfather of today's story gave her that credit card just to see if she would abuse it or only use it for emergencies or monthly bills, but no. The second he realized that June was going to absolutely try to max out the credit card, buying all this unnecessary, materialistic stuff, I think that was the exact moment where grandfather knew he's going to give all the money to OP. I want to know your thoughts on that, guys. That wasn't in the story, it's just my hunch. I believe that was the tipping point that led grandfather to decide who he's going to leave his fortune to. In my also opinion, I just think 5% was even too much. I don't even think she deserved $20. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me on today's video, and if you want to drop a little advice down below, or maybe you've been in a similar situation as today's story, which involves some sort of inheritance, let me know your story in the comment section down below. Thank you once again. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button for daily videos. I'll see you tomorrow, and just remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.